Wait, my dog is sleeping on my lap, and you would already know this if you watched the previous video about how I became a car designer, because this is kind of like a following version of this video, because now I'm going to talk about why I quit my professional car design job. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the other video, I will put the link somewhere here, and also at the end of this video you can see the link. But basically I talked about my journey to become a car designer. And 4 years ago, in August 2020, I quit my professional car design job in a company to become a freelance designer and kind of like a small YouTuber, let's say. And there are multiple reasons behind that. I hope I will remember them all, but first one is I always had freelance clients. Even when I was a student, I was interested in social media. I was sharing my work on Instagram and Facebook on that time when I was a student, and also Behance, of course, to get feedback mostly, because I talked about on the other video the importance of self-improvement. So I was uploading my sketches, my work, my everything to online to get feedback from professionals. I was asking them, I was getting some feedback. It was easier on that time, by the way. Today it's too crowded, social media, and it kind of changed direction a lot, so it's hard to even show your work sometimes. But anyway, I'm working on this to give you some opportunity to like create a community to connect professional designers or connect all design students or something. I will give more information about this later. Sorry if I'm talking about many things at once, but I'm just excited to give all this news, let's say, because back in time it was not that easy to connect. Back in time it was way easier to connect with other designers, but today it's really a little bit more complicated. So anyways, I was sharing my work to get feedback, and it helped me a lot. I connected with some other designers, and more importantly, I improved my work. But at the same time, it was a great marketing to find some people who need designers. So some small companies or some personal projects, they were writing me, and I was doing some freelance works when I was a student. Then also when I was working in different companies, I was still on side having some freelance clients to work on weekends to make some extra cash, and also to have some experience with other type of products, because freelance design is not like BMW, Porsche, like big brands contact you to say, hey, can you design a car for us? It doesn't work like that. It's more like startup companies or not that big companies. When they need help generally for specific projects, they hire you. And it doesn't have to be cars, because I also have product design background. So I was designing different things, like from a autonomous robot for a warehouse, an electric bolt, scooter. So I worked on several projects, and I'm still working on them. My point is, I was always having some clients, and everybody in my family have their own businesses. Like my brother, my father, my uncle, my mother, everybody has their own thing to do. So I always had this in my mind to do my own business anyway. So that's one thing. I wanted to be my own boss, let's say, to work for myself with my own rules. That was one thing. Another thing is car design is very specific, and the location is very limited. Like if you want to be a designer in Aston Martin, you need to be in a certain point in a design studio in England somewhere, and you cannot live somewhere else. At least now I don't know if there is possibility to work from far, like work from home or something, which I don't think so much for car design, but I'm not sure. But it was very limiting. Like let's say I want to live in, I don't know, in a different city or in a bigger city, in a different city, whatever. Because what I experienced was, to be a designer in Ital Design, you are a bit out of Torino. It is a nice city, but it's still a bit out of it. So if you don't have your own car, living in Turin might be a little bit of tricky. You need to use public transportation, which was not the best. Anyway, my point is, the location is very specific for car design, and you need to adapt yourself for it. But I wanted to do the opposite, because my family is in Turkey and I live in another country for being a car designer. So I want to visit them more often, not just a couple weeks a year only, not that limited. But you don't have this option because it's limiting. I mean, I loved car design. I mean, even if you love your job, this limit thing was bothering. So this was the second reason. And the third reason is kind of connected to this, because on that time I had my girlfriend. We met in Ital Design, and after we both moved out from Italy, she came to Poland and I went to Austria, and we had long distance relationship for a while. and it sucks. Long distance relationship is not my favorite thing. I think it's nobody's favorite thing ever. So we wanted to find a solution. And Design Storz, where I used to work, was in a small town called Zell am See. The population in this town is 10,000 people. So it's like a small town. And for my girlfriend, it was hard to come to Austria to find a job. And for me to find a car design job in Poland was probably very difficult. I don't know even if there's a car design job in Poland. So it was another reason. I wanted to finish this distance relationship and I wanted to live together with my girlfriend. And now we are happily married. We even have this puppy sleeping on me right now. So life is good. I can live with my partner. And it would be difficult if I wanted to be strictly car designer in some company. So your partner would need to adapt to your goals. And I'm not even sure if it's fair to just follow you. When I was younger, I was thinking that it should be that way. I want to be a car designer. It's my passion. So I will just go there. I don't care about the other aspects of life. And I lived like this. I was working in a company. I was going back home. I was doing a new portfolio, new project because it was my passion. So everything was car design, and it should be. But after some age, when you get a little bit older, I'm over 30 now officially, and I have other things in life that I want to do. So being a bit more flexible about location was very important for me. So that's another reason. I mean, location was 2, so long distance relationship, personal life was reason 3. And another reason 4 might be that I enjoy not only being a specific part of the whole design process, but I want to also manage the project. I want to also do 3D, also sketching, also talking with client. I'm interested in those stuff. So I like to have this business aspect of it. So rather than being just a designer, I wanted to have this flexibility on the other processes of this business. Another reason, number 5, is it happened once, I think, in Ital Design. I cannot give you any details because everything is confidential in car design studios, of course. But there was a project that I really liked. I worked hard on it. It was going well. And then the company decided, Volkswagen Group decided, okay, we don't have budget to do this concept, to do prototype or anything, or we don't even want to show this to publicly. Even if it was a good, successful project, they decided to put it on the shelf so nobody will ever see it. And you cannot just take it and put it on Instagram. It's, as I said, it's very confidential stuff. So there were things, again, limiting your, I designed to share it with people, not for only spend your months on a project and then hide it somewhere, forget about this project, nobody will ever see it. I don't like this idea that much. And it's kind of like the nature of the work, because you do a lot of projects, you do a lot of proposals, even for the projects which happened, let's say, on the way your project evolves a lot and your key idea sometimes changes a lot, and maybe you still want to show this key idea to the world, to your friends maybe, and you cannot. So I don't like these limits. And number 6 is also, it's strict, depends on the company. It can be very strict, I don't even know if it's a word, on your social media. I remember getting warned about sharing my work, my personal work, which is not related to my professional work, but still sharing it on social media, getting a bit louder on social media was not welcomed on some companies. And it was for me a no, because social media, as long as I'm not sharing client work, or as long as I'm not sharing my work at job, it should be fine to share my personal stuff, right? Let's say I want to sketch a car and share it online. What's wrong with that? As long as it's not interfering with the ongoing projects, So again, it depends on the company, but my experience was a little bit limiting, so I didn't like that this much. And when you combine all these things, it was always in my mind to do my own thing. And also I wanted to give back to this community. I wanted to share my experience with the design students, people who wants to be car designers. Basically, I wanted to share with you, and I didn't want all these limits. So I created my YouTube channel also around 4 years ago, just before I quit my job, I think a couple months before quitting my job. And I wanted to do these online courses, which I wish I had when I was a design student. So here is the self-promotion that if you are interested in learning car design, if you want to get confident with car design sketching, learning basics, digital drawing on Photoshop, 3D modeling with Blender for beginners and for advanced, 2 separate courses. I would highly recommend you to start from Blender beginners course if you never 3D modeled in Blender a car. And I also have recently added AI for car design course. So if you're interested in, go to berkaplan.com to see the details of these courses. And it's kind of also the reason, like building my business, my freelance business, but also sharing my experience with the new generation, because I learned a lot online. I asked to many professional designers when I was a student, and it was super helpful. So it is kind of like a personal thing for me to, like, I don't know where you are right now. You might be anywhere in the world. You might be in any level. You might be like very young person, or you might be over 30s like me, and you want to improve your skills. You don't have to go to a design school tomorrow. Maybe you cannot, but why not to make it accessible? So it's kind of like a personal thing for me to share this experience and knowledge. So when you combine all these reasons together, I quit my job, and since 4 years, thankfully, I'm independent. I have my freelance clients. It's whole different story. Like being a freelancer, the psychology behind is whole different than having a salary every month. I made videos also about this stuff, but if you're interested, let me know in the comments so we can talk more deeper into these topics. And if you didn't watch yet, and if you want to know how I became a car designer, I think it's important. There are some good advice there. If you want to be a car designer, you can watch this video right here. And give me a thumbs up if you like this video. See you in the next one.